Hey friends, this is Eric the Mind Control Guy. I tell you, some of these videos I've been watching lately, folks that do their own podcast, have their own channel, the lady that does reality check uh, is hard hitting. Tommy Sotomayor, some of these folks are hard hitting. Some people just, man, every day, they push themselves to just do whatever they can. There were others that every day they had videos. Just they really had the steam in them, and other people just lost their steam. And I really can't blame them. I mean, we used to hear videos from Miss Peggy Hubbard all the time. She's about a year and a half, 2 years older than me, and I'm 55. And Peggy run against Dick Turpin, as the Limbaugh used to call him before he passed on. Dick Turpin, actual name Dick Durbin. East St. Louis is just a rat hole. I go through East St. Louis. St. Louis in general, I go every week. And you look off the interstate and you see housing project after housing project after housing project boarded up, graffitied, fallen down, burn up. It's just cities left in ruins. You take 44 west off the 70, and you look off to the right, and you got city areas that are just left in ruins. You go to a lot of big cities, just left in ruins. And how did this happen? Well, a couple days ago, it was Wednesday, I was down in Evansville, Indiana, and I was talking to one of the workers there. She's an older lady, older black lady, about 64 years old, I think's what she said. We got to talking, and sometimes you never figured out you'd meet these people who were related to somebody who made the news. Unfortunately, her relation, her great niece, and it was her niece or her great niece, either way. Uh, Unfortunately, made the news in a rather horrible way back January 14th, 2008, in Indianapolis. Her niece and her niece's baby was one of the young mothers and their infants who were murdered in a home invasion robbery. I'm talking about the Hovey Street killings. Now, most people who live in Indiana, Indianapolis in particular, but folks who live in Indiana who have not yet forgotten, we remember the Hovey Street killings. And Indianapolis was on edge. Two young mothers and their babies. One of the babies, I think, was 18 months, and the other one was like 4 months. And these guys suspected that, there was drugs in this house. There were six of them. And anyway, they stormed into this house, and they said, "Where's the weed? Where's this? Where's that?" And the gals had said it was moved. And then, completely unprovoked, as the women and their infants were hiding behind a bed, this guy broke out some kind of firearm, shot both mothers, and shot both babies dead. The mob didn't even do that kind of stuff. And we got to talking about this kind of thing. And I had told her something. I said, folks don't like to hear certain kind of words. And certain kind of words have lost their meaning. Or people have changed meanings on stuff. And after doing a lot of thinking over the years, I've had a lot of years to think. I'm 55. And I told the lady, I said, this is the kind of garbage that the city breeds. And, there's unfortunate incidents like this in other parts of the country, rural country. But the city, you hear about it every day. Indianapolis, Indiana, not too far from where I live. Round the clock. Round the clock. Murders, rapes, carjackings, burglaries, home invasion, you name it, it happens. Arson, oh yeah. And what I said was, ghetto is not a skin color. Ghetto is a mentality. And she said, exactly. You know, I mean, you could look just like I do and be ghetto. There's plenty of them up there. Unfortunately, I was married to a gal years ago, and for about a year or so, we lived in Indianapolis, round the clock. I remember this one corner I lived on. One particular Saturday, I was home from the road, didn't have to work. The longest we went, we sat on the porch like all day. Nothing to do. We were sitting on the porch, drinking some, cold drinks, whatever, just kicking back. The longest we went without hearing some first responder of one kind or another, whether it be police, firefighters, ambulance. The longest we went without hearing sirens of any kind was 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I mean, sometimes not even a minute would go by, and we'd hear 2 or 3 different sets of sirens on this particular Saturday. And this was back in, I want to say 1997, maybe 1998. And the city, unfortunately, and there are plenty of good people who have come from the city, but ghetto mentality is what destroyed the cities. Now, you can be poor, folks. You can be financially poor but mentally rich, but not in a criminal way. All these people that feel they have to resort to crime. No, you don't. They choose to be criminals. That's what ghetto mentality does. When I hear these ghetto rappers and other people say, oh, you got to keep it real. Keep it really what? Keep it really what? Keep it really thuggish? And you have people from the cities, people from the countries. When, it's totally insulting when you have black folks out there who they look at the thug mentality and they said, I have no desire to be like you thugs. I'm going to do something with my life. I'm going to go on to better things. I am going to go to school, and I'm going to learn what they have to offer. I want nothing to do with you thugs. I want nothing to do with thug mentality. They say, oh, you're a sellout. Sellout to what? Maybe you guys enjoy living in a septic tank, but I don't. And the mentality that ghetto mentality produces is just, I can't even comprehend it. Less than a year ago, Father's Day. Father's Day in Chicago, which many folks now refer to as Chirac. 102 shootings that they know of. A number of people died. A number of kids died. The thug, ghetto, gang mentality. They don't care about anybody but themselves. A lot of times they supposedly are theoretically supposed to care about their fellow gang members, but they don't. I mean, gang members whacking each other in the same gang, there's nothing new. Happens all the time. It's gone on for decades. And all these little riffraff want to do is create a new gang. The mentality of gangs. How many people in prisons are there because of gang and criminal activity? Real criminal and gang activity. They terrorize their local citizens. They terrorize their neighbors. Even comedian Chris Rock, some of the things he said in a special he did years ago, whether it be on BET or HBO or where it was. But he had some things to say about that mentality. Now, he used words that I won't use here in this video. He can say things like that, and everybody laughs. So can David Chappelle. David Chappelle can use that N word more than what somebody would hear at a Klan rally, and everybody's laughing. I guess the word ain't too offensive, depends on whose mouth it comes out of. But the good people that came out of the city. I mean, I can remember a story not too many years ago, came out of Chicago. There was this young black kid, and he wanted nothing to do with the thug life, the gang life. He said, I want nothing to do with that. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go on to better things. I'm going to do something with my life. He was a young kid. I'm not sure if he was 12 or 8 or how old exactly he was. But the other gang members wanted him to join their gang, join our gang. He didn't want nothing to do with it. You know what they did? They killed the kid. Stuffed him in a 55-gallon drum and burned the body. No Jesse Jackson. No Al Sharpton. No Black Panthers. Why? I don't know if they were around at the time. That kind of stuff doesn't bother BLM at all. All these black kids killing each other. Not one of them is a licensed firearm owner. How do they get their guns? They steal them. Break into people's houses and steal. Break into gun stores and steal. I've actually seen video footage myself, and you could probably watch it on YouTube today, depending on what you type in. Taking some pickup truck, backing it in through the window of a gun store, going in, grabbing what they can carry, and run out. And then when they get busted, end up going to jail or end up going to prison. Oh man, that's messed up, dog. That's the mentality. That's ghetto mentality. I mean, criminal behavior of any kind. When you get your just desserts, don't sit there and whine like a baby. Those that sit there and whine like a baby, they should be forced to show up in adult-sized diapers and a pacifier and a bonnet. I mean, the ghetto mentality, thug mentality, is what killed those two ladies and their babies, their infants. I think one was coming up to be a toddler, and the other one was an infant, 4 months old. Young people have their whole lives ahead of them. And unfortunately, because they think having a certain mentality is cool, dog, they either throw their lives away or they take away somebody else's life for no other reason. Oh yeah, that's cool, dog. Like them two little twerps that weren't even old enough to have a driver's license up in D.C. here a week or two ago. Carjacked a guy who was old enough to be their grandfather, maybe their great-grandfather. Pakistani immigrant. He was working. He was an Uber driver. Carjacked him. And then drove off. He's trying to get his vehicle back or hold on and not let it get stolen. And they drove it, wrecked it, killed the guy. And people are defending those twerps. Well, he just should have let him have it. No. And those kind of twerps and the SOBs that killed those two ladies in the Hovey Street killings back in 2008. Now, the trigger man, he ended up getting 245 years. Whether he's still in prison, I don't know. I don't know if the inmates killed him or not. But I think maybe it's time, if we could ever get the left out of control. The left is out of control, but the left seems to control anything, everything. Every time somebody gets sick and tired of the left and cancel culture, people create a new web page, new social media for right-thinking people. And yeah, I said it. Right-thinking people. People that go to work every day, pay their bills, they're not a menace to society, and they're sick and tired of being called all kinds of horrible names. They're being told they're responsible for everything that ever happened because the color of their skin. Because that's what those leftist professors have been teaching these kids from kindergarten up. The very leftist professors that our grandmas and grandpas were warned about by a Wisconsin senator named Joe McCarthy. Joe McCarthy was right. And of course, the revisionist and people say, oh, well, he really wasn't. Now, bullshit. McCarthy warned us. McCarthy warned us. The left has infiltrated everything. I think that's why Joe McCarthy said what he said about the military. And there are people in the military, that don't have our best interest at heart. The guy who basically, he got things going here in this country back in the 1800s. He was sent here on a mission from the House of Rothschild, a guy named Jacob Schiff. Get a hold of America's money system. And it took him a little while, but he did. Long story about that. In fact, you can listen to the Illuminati tapes by Myron Fagan on YouTube. It's I think it's close to 3 hours long. But you can listen to the entire Myron Fagan Illuminati tapes. And Mr. Fagan, he tells the story of how it all happened. How it all happened. And other tapes I've listened to over the years, how they've gotten certain people, whether they be in the military, the financial institutions, media institutions, educational institution, how certain people were groomed from a young age to help the left, help the communists take over this country. It's kind of obvious now. It's obvious. When ANTIFA can run through the streets and do whatever they want, and the police are pretty much told hands off. Yeah, I couldn't imagine the Aryan Nation being able to get away with that. I don't even think they exist anymore. But I couldn't imagine a lot of those, far right, far white groups being able to do that and get away with it. The stuff that Antifa does. Makes me wonder how many of these Antifa guys are actually foreign agents. I wouldn't be surprised. But, this ghetto mentality has really destroyed the last 3 or 4 generations of young people. Ghetto mentality has destroyed our cities. There's been plenty of poor folks who have existed throughout the history of people who lived on this planet. And they did not destroy their environment every time they got pissed off about something. My old man, he'll be 85 here in another week or so. 85 years old, grew up during the Great Depression, lived through World War II. You talk about having it rough. Yeah, people back then, they had it real rough. The roaring 20s were going along. There was jobs to be had. People were just living the life. I'm not sure if I have that video here. Yeah, I do, right here. You can watch this on YouTube, and it pretty much tells the story. It's called The Crash, The Coming Financial Collapse of America. It was made in 1994 by Jeremiah Films. Made in 1994. And they tell all this story. Now, the people on here, they're not a bunch of racist rednecks. They're not a bunch of militia guys. No, the people on there are all professionals. One of them was a congressman. And those people on that video were saying the very same things that the far right's been saying for decades. How does the left prey on vulnerable people? The left hates this movie. I recommend it. Right there. The Red Menace, made in 1949. You can watch the entire movie on YouTube. I've got all kinds of movies in my library. A lot of them I've given a lot away, because unfortunately, when I've had flashbacks from my time when I was a young soldier as a mind-controlled test subject under the mind-altering research study, who was headed by a very, very sadistic individual. Out of mind-controlled doctors, he was been described to me as the twisted of the twisted, and his name was Dr. Gorman. He was as sadistic as they came. But anyway, some of these videos I have shown you, you might want to take it upon yourself to watch them and hunt. Do what I've done over the years. Dig, 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 before the left makes it to where you can't even find those videos anymore. You can't find those documentaries anymore. Just dig, constantly dig, because they've already shown us and told us everything they're going to do. People never wanted to believe it, but they're doing it. And they've been doing it for a long time. That's why these young people, that's why their heads are so screwed up. It's because of the left. I'll leave you with this one. You can watch this one on YouTube. Trying to find a box set or the DVD, good luck, without paying a few $100. This one right here. America, spelled with a K, made in 1986, 12-hour miniseries. And the way things are going in this country, I wouldn't be surprised if before too long we could very well end up like that. In the book version, I don't even know if you can find it anymore. I found it on YouTube quite a few years ago for a penny. The shipping was more than the book. But there was a book by the same name, America, spelled with a K. They put something in the book that they did not put in that movie. How did the Ruskies take over? How did the communists take over? Back then, they used a term we hear now, but back then you didn't hear it. You know what that term was? EMP. They exploded 4, I don't remember if it was neutron bombs or what it was. 4 of them above the United States. West Coast, Mountain, Central, Eastern. It evaporated the grid. No power, no communication of any kind. It was easy to come in. And slowly but surely, we've seen administrations that were paving the way to allow the communist takeover of this country. The militias have told us about it for years. You know, some of these videos I've acquired over the years. America's Judgment, What Lies Ahead. Surviving Martial Law. Interview at the Department of Police, Militia, Montana. Now, Militia, Montana is just an intelligence gathering group. That's all it was. There was no, big military or nothing like that. That's all it was. This one here, Death and Taxes. The story of Gordon Call and his family. His son, Yori, still in prison to this day. Went into prison, I think it was 1993. Or 1983, excuse me. It was 1983 when he went to prison. He's still there. Why is he in prison? Because he survived. His mom just died earlier this year. But all these things that have been going on for a long, long time. Show you how the big boys work. A Stranger on My Land. Very old, very rare movie, if you can find it. Tommy Lee Jones. But anyway, I'm getting kind of long, and I want to get off here before it shuts me off. So anyway, with Biden and his latest scheme for trying to ban this and trying to ban that, things related to firearms, you probably would have been better off if you got things back when you could still get them. Good luck trying to find them now. Anyway, friends, this is Eric the Mind Control Guy. I'm going to get off here. I got to get my Friday going. Got to do the good old American thing. Got to go pay bills and stuff like that. And not duck and dodge and file bankruptcy. So, anyway, that's how a good American operates. Go to work, pay your bills, stay out of trouble. Don't go do stupid stuff that gets you a police record. 55 years old. I don't have a police record. Why? Because I don't go out and do stupid stuff. People have asked me, hey man, what prison did you get your tattoos in? I'm going, prison? I've never been arrested before. What do you mean prison? Whoa, you've never been to prison? Wow. Why, is that some kind of requirement or something? Prison used to be a stain on the family name. Now these fools act like it's a badge of honor. I don't know. Take care, friends. Goodbye.